I asked a man one time, "What are your goals for this month?" And he said, "If I could just scrape up enough money to pay these lousy bills." That was his goal. Hey, I'm not saying it isn't a goal. It is, but it's such a poor goal. It certainly isn't inspiring. You don't jump out of bed on Monday morning and say, "Oh boy, another chance to go out and scrape up the money to pay these lousy bills." The point is that goals should be fun. They should be big, challenging, rewarding. They should allow you to grow. Remember, too, that the major purpose of having a goal is not just to acquire the goal. The major reason for setting goals is to compel yourself to become the person it takes to achieve them. In other words, attaining the goal is of secondary importance. What's far more important is what you become in the pursuit of it. The greatest value in becoming a millionaire, for example, is not the $1 million. The greatest value is the skills, the knowledge, the discipline, and the leadership qualities you acquired in becoming a millionaire. It's the experience you acquired in planning, development, strategy. It's other qualities you acquired, such as courage, commitment, and willpower, to attract $1 million. You could lose everything you attained, but you could not lose the skills, knowledge, and experience you have obtained. Even better than having is being. Here's a most important question to spend some time answering. What kind of person will I have to become to get all I want? Write down a few thoughts on that. Write down some skills you'll have to develop, for example, and some of the things you're going to have to learn. Just spend a little time writing a few sentences on this. What kind of person will I have to become to get all I want? The answer to this will give you some personal development goals. Remember that income does not far exceed personal development. All of us have to do this kind of self-examination. I have to look at my own life and say, well, here's what I want, but am I willing to become what it takes to get what I want? If I'm too lazy, if I don't want to learn, read, study, and grow to become that kind of person, then I cannot attract what I want. Now, either I have to change my wants or I have to change myself. Here are a few more key points I'd like to share with you on goals and designing your future. First, if you don't right now feel as if you're equipped to get all you want, just remember, ability will grow to match your strong dreams. That's why the goal-setting process we've discussed is so important. The more you work on this, the more ideas you will get on how you can change, how you can grow. I am nowhere near the person I was when I met Mr. Shope 25 years ago. I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. There's nothing you can do about the past, but you can do a great deal about your future. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday. You can make changes in your life, absolutely startling changes, in a fairly short period of time. You can make changes you can't even conceive of now. If you give yourself a chance, your abilities will grow. You have untapped talents and potential that you haven't even reached for yet. And as time goes on, you'll be able to reach deeper and deeper. The first thing you'll know, you'll be able to do things you never thought you could do. You'll be able to handle things you never thought you could handle. You'll have ideas that you've never had before. All of this is sparked by the goal-setting process. When you know what you want, and you want it badly enough, the answers will come to you. I can't tell you why it worked. All I know is it worked.
If you can become a person, engage others, you will now become an extraordinary leader, not a mediocre or good one. As far as I'm concerned, good is the enemy of great. Corny as it sounds. So think about it. I'll give you an example of this book that I did. I did this book because back in 2008, I felt like I was back in my childhood. Everybody around me was suffering. And I hate suffering. Most of the skills I developed is because I want to take somebody else suffering and take them to a place where they have joy and aliveness and health and vitality and abundance or whatever I can do to help. And so I've got the guy that cuts my hair. My barber is like, his kid can't go to college. He's lost half what he's got to do. A billionaire client of mine is no longer a billionaire. He's feeling equally bad, he thinks, but suffering is suffering in somebody's mind, right? And so I thought to myself, something's got to be done. And like most of us, somebody's going to do something. In 2010, when things actually got worse and the system wasn't changed, I started reading everything I could read, started watching everything I could watch, and I watched a documentary called Inside Job. Anybody here see Inside Job? If you didn't see it, was Matt Damon did the documentary on it, and it won the Academy Award. And it actually walked through systematically and showed how the entire world economic experience, our entire economy as a world, was almost destroyed by a few people, and they identified who they were, how they did it, they documented it all, and then they showed what happened to them. And what happened to them, does anybody know? No, not nothing. Nothing would have been a reward compared to what they should have got. They were actually put in charge of the turnaround. And they were given your money and mine. We were taxed so they could put their money back where it belonged. So at the end of this film, depending upon your personality, if you haven't seen it, I should warn you, you'll have one or two reactions. You'll either be very depressed or very pissed. I was on the piss side. I was so angry, and I thought to myself, nothing's been done. This is insane. And something's got to be done. I thought, everybody says something can be done, but what can I do? And I thought, you know what? I've got access. For 21 years, most people think I'm a happy, bouncing around, positive thinking, screening guy on an infomercial from 20 years ago, but I have continued to grow, not taller, hopefully. But in all that time, for 21 years, I've coached Paul Tudor Jones, who's one of the top 10 financial traders in the history of the world. He's a man who's made more money than almost anyone on earth, along with George Soros and a few other names you may know. But Paul's really unique in that Paul found himself in a position that in 1987, when the stock market crashed, the largest percentage in a day still to this day, he made 20% when the whole world was losing everything. He made 200% that year for his client. Just unbelievable. And then it was like the guy that walked on the moon. What do you do if you walk on the moon? You see that, you look at that incredible view of the earth. It's you seeing it's not a photograph. You come back to the earth, you shake the president's hand, you have a ticker tape parade. Now what do you do? And a lot of those astronauts, if you know the story, actually became depressed because they didn't have what I call a compelling future, something to look forward to. So Paul had a little fall back, and I was called in to turn him around. Came in and started studying everybody around him, figured out what it took to do it, and built a strategy to put him back in state. He's been successful and made money every year for 21 straight years. Every single year. There's no one in his class that's done that. No one. Pretty amazing. I was with him to give example. We were together, and back if you remember in the tech bubble of 2000, it blew up. Paul made money. Right by him, side by side, every single day. He's emailing me every single day. I'm talking in some ways, communicating, or I'm going to see him every 3 or 4 months to be there in person to make sure we keep tweaking the system. I'm not there to be a positive thinking coach. He didn't need that crap. I'm a prepare for anything coach. How do we figure out the strategy? I've always been a strategist. I've never believed in positive thinking. I never told people you should go to your gym or go to your garden, better yet, and chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. I'm like, here's the weed, let's pull it out. That's what I do with him. 21 years. 21 years includes 9/11, when the whole markets are blowing up, making money. 21 years includes everything we saw in the subprime crisis, making money. It includes when we all went through the dropping gold, those are associated to it not long ago. So I've been there with all those pieces, and I got a chance to learn from this guy side by side, and I've been able to contribute to him in a significant way.
You'd be shocked how many ministers crumble because they don't have support and secretly want to get out of the ministry and are secretly burned out and are secretly tired, and their marriages are in jeopardy and their minds are perplexed because they're doing too much. Leaders, if you are doing anything in your church that somebody else could do, you shouldn't be doing it. Good leadership is working yourself out of a job. And if you are busy doing stuff that somebody else could do, then you're a control freak. And you need to give up control and allocate that over to somebody that you can trust so that you can reserve yourself for your highest and best use. I want you to ask yourself a question, and every time you take an assignment as a leader, is this my highest and best use? Or am I busy doing something that somebody under me could do? If somebody on your team could do it, you shouldn't be doing it. Because as you go and as you grow, you must reserve yourself for your highest and best use. And if you will relinquish your need to control everything, you will create a place for somebody to serve and alleviate your stress and be better at your highest and best use when you are not distracted by the trivia of doing things that God has called somebody else to do. Elijah comes along and he runs behind Elijah and he says, wait a minute, man, wait a minute, your hands look dusty. Let me pour water on your hands. And Elijah said, in all the time I was calling down fire from heaven, not one person on Mount Carmel ever did that. Nobody helps me be me. And so we've called you to this meeting today because it's not just the people who I had stand that are important. It's the people who are sitting. Because if you don't pour water on the hands of the people who stand, they may not be here next year. And they will be talked about and they will be ostracized, but they died for the lack of you. Their arms got heavy for the lack of you. Their marriages suffered because they were busy doing things that the church said somebody else could do, and they got the divorce for the lack of you. Because there was nobody close to them who urged them to take a vacation, not just going to another conference. A real vacation does not have seminars. I took a bunch of my partners on a cruise, in fact, we flew out from here. We flew up to here and went on an Alaskan cruise, and all that week we were on the cruise, my wife and I, when you're on a cruise with your partners and stuff, you can't leave your room with it. The moment you come out the door, there's cameras flashing and people coming up to you and wanting prayer and wanting to discuss scriptures and stuff, so you're kind of in your room like a hostage. When you come out the room, it's like, and they come up, they do whatever it is they want to do, and they say, we hate to bother you you on your vacation? I looked at Blair and I said, this is not our vacation. This is not our vacation, because if it was, you wouldn't be here.
Mr. Shelf gave me all kinds of examples on lifestyle. He gave me 2 phrases that helped change my life. In case you have to leave early, let me give you these 2 phrases. It'll be worth the price of coming and being here today. Just take these 2 phrases home, in case you have to leave early. Here's number 1. Shelf said, Mr. Rohn, if you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. When he said that, I said, my gosh, I don't know anybody that studies wealth. Where am I going to learn it? He said, never mind, Mr. Rohn, now that you've met me, if you'll be with me for a while, he said, and if you'll commit yourself, he said, I will teach you. And he taught me. He taught me the book. He taught me the stuff. Changed my life. By the time I was 31, I was a millionaire. The man taught me what. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. If you were to show me your present economic plan, in a personal conversation between you and me, you say, Mr. Rohn, let me disclose for you my current economic financial plan for the future. Would I get so excited? I'd say, hey, I'm going to go across the country and lecture on your plan. And if the answer is no, Mr. Rohn, you probably wouldn't want to go across the country and lecture on my plan. Here's my question to you. Why not? Why wouldn't you have a superior, powerful financial plan that's taking you to the places you want to go? I'm asking you, if you find yourself caught like I was at age 25, Make the personal commitment today and say, I'm going to study and I'm going to change. And 5 years from now, nobody's going to be able to say, how come you don't have a superior plan living in a superior country with superior opportunity? Nobody's going to be able to say that 5 years from now. If you'll make that commitment, I'm telling you, this will be one of the most exciting days of your life. Not because of my seminar. It'll be one of the most exciting days of your life because of your commitment to this simple little process I've outlined for you. Here was the second phrase. Mr. Shoaff said, Mr. Rohn, if you wish to be happy, study happiness. I didn't know happiness was a study. My best hope for happiness at age 25 was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed, hoping somehow something would make me happy. Shoaff said, no, Mr. Rohn, happiness is not something you postpone. Happiness is not something off in the future. Happiness is something you design. You've got to get the word. Happiness is something you design. Happiness is a study. Happiness is a practice. Happiness is an art. It's not an accident. It's an art. And anybody that wants to can study, practice the art, happy living. Happiness is like culture. Money doesn't make you cultured, but culture is within the grasp of all of us. How much is a book on sophistication in the marketplace? $4,000? No, $40. I'm telling you, in America, everything's available. Everything's within reach. All you have to be is committed to it and make it a study. Culture is a study. Sophistication is a study. It's not an amount. It's not an account. It's a study. Money doesn't make you sophisticated and cultured. I know a guy that's rich. He's a clod. The guy's a clod. Eats with his elbow in his soup. I mean, he's just a clod. Nothing much more pitiful than a rich clod. I mean, it's a sad thing to see. Money doesn't make you sophisticated. Only study and practice makes you sophisticated. Only study and practice makes you cultured. And only study and practice makes you happy. Study and practice makes you rich. Key phrase, don't be lazy in learning. 1, how to do well. Next, how to live well. Don't be lazy in learning and practicing the art of economics, practicing the art of productivity, and practicing the art of lifestyle. Shoaff taught me in such simple terms. Shoaff said, Mr. Rohn, if you're getting your shoes shine, Shoe Shine Boy has done an exceptional job. You look down, you got one of the world's all-time great shine. And you pay him. Now, you got a little change in your hand. Question pops in your mind. Should I give him 1 quarter or 2 quarters as a tip from a neat shine? Here's what Shoaff said. If 2 amounts pop in your mind, always go for the higher amount and become the higher thinking person. That helped change my life. Here's what he said. Become a 2-quarter person. Now, you can tell that was a long time ago when a quarter was a good tip. Now it takes dollars, but just substitute 1992 dollars for quarters. Shoaff said, hey, if you are thinking 1 quarter or 2 quarters, and you say, well, no, I'll just give him 1 quarter. He said, that'll affect you the rest of the day. The rest of the day, you'll look down, see this great shine, you'll say, I gotta be really cheap. 1 lousy quarter, tip from a shine. But he said, if you'll go for the 2 quarters, Shoaff said, you can't believe the extra happiness you can buy for just an extra quarter. That's called studying and practicing the art of lifestyle, which means living well. Money doesn't make you happy. Father wads up a $20 bill, throws it at his son. It says, if you need the darn stuff that bad, take it, just get out of my face. How sad, a father with money and no joy. He studied economics, but he never studied joy. I'm asking you to turn that around. Turn that all around. I did a seminar one time, St. Louis, Missouri. When I finished a seminar like this, a man walked up and said, Mr. Rohn, you've really gotten to me. He said, I'm going to change my philosophy. I'm going to change my attitude. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change everything. He said, you've touched me today. And he said, you'll hear about me. You'll hear my story someday. I said, okay. Right. A lot of people, right, say things. Sure enough, a few months later, I come back to St. Louis, did another seminar. When I finished my seminar, I saw this man come walking up. I didn't remember his name, but he said, I'm sure you'll remember me as the man who said, I'm going to go make some changes. You've touched me today. I said, I do remember you. He said, I'm telling you, things are already happening for me. I cannot believe in just a matter of months. He said, one of the things I decided to change was my relationship with my family. He said, my wife and I have 2 lovely teenage daughters. Parents couldn't ask for any more beautiful, lovely daughters. And he said, I'm the only one that's given them trouble. He said, these daughters of ours have never given us any trouble. He said, I've usually been the one all these years, giving all the trouble and all the sad. He said, my daughters love to go to the rock concerts, and I'm always giving them trouble. They have to beg me for the money. He said, I don't want you to go. You stay out too late. Music's too loud. It's going to ruin your hearing. You won't be able to hear the rest of your life. And he said, I just get on their case. And he said, they keep begging. Finally, when they beg long enough, I say, all right, here's the money. If you have to go that bad, just go. He said, that's how I've been up until now. But he said, after I left your seminar, I decided to change all that, called lifestyle, living well. He said, you won't believe it. Not long ago, I picked up the newspaper, and I saw an advertisement, and I knew my 2 daughters, it was one of their favorite performers, was coming to town. He said, guess what I did? He said, I went down and bought the tickets myself, and brought them home, put them in an envelope, And when I saw my daughters later that day, he said, I handed them this envelope, and I said to my two lovely daughters, you may not believe it, but inside this envelope are 2 tickets for the upcoming concert. They could not believe. And he also added, you'll be happy to know, begging days are over. Now they cannot. He said, now don't open the envelope till you get to the concert. They said, okay. So they go to the concert, come concert time, open up the envelope, hand the tickets to the usher. He says, follow me. And he starts down front. The girls say, hey, hold it. Something must be wrong. He takes another look, says, no, nothing's wrong, follow me. 10th row, center. Now they cannot leave. 10th row center. The only tickets they were able ever to beg for was, right, 3rd balcony, can't see. He said, I stayed up a little late that night. Sure enough, a little after midnight, my 2 daughters come bursting through the front door. One of them lands in my lap. The other one's got her arms around my neck. They're both saying, you got to be one of the all-time world's great fathers. He said, Mr. Rohn, you're right. I can't believe. Same money, different father. He said, I've started making the changes, and I decided to start with my teenagers, my girls. He said, what a difference it's making in my life. And I'm telling you, you can do that with your lifestyle. You can do it with your sales career. You can do it with your management career. You can do it with any part of your life. If you're looking for equities unmatched.
My favorite book says the greatest among you will be your servant. How many of you are serious about your goals and dreams? Raise your hands. Very good. Write this down. Provide more service than you get paid for. Provide more service than you get paid for. I go to a lot of seminars and workshops. And one of the things I know about T. Harv Eckert, when I was sitting in the class with Robert Ruppel and all of the other presenters, they hold themselves to high standards and they provide more information than anybody else in the industry, bar none. They hold nothing back because their commitment is for your success. And when you hold yourself to high standards, write this down, impact drives income. That's why you're here, because the training, the seminars, been making a difference in your life. If there did not have impact, 200 or 300 people would be here, if that amount. Impact drives income. So I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I would go get their lunch and their dinner, and I would bring it to them in the control room, and I'd watch them working the control boards, knowing my time will come. Write this down. I expect to reach my goal. Yes, you want to operate with a spirit of expectation. I expect to reach my goal. So I started preparing for the next position. Never forget one quote that I heard. As you look at your life, you look at your goals and dreams. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. If you expect to reach your goal, prepare yourself now. And so then pretty soon, the guys at the station, they begin to take a liking to me. Write this down. Build relationships. As you're aware, people deal with people that they know, like, and trust. And so they would say, Leslie, yes, sir. Come here, yes. Come outside. Who did this? Oh, your car? Yes. Who cleaned my car? I did, sir. I would wax their cars on the weekend, inside and out. How much do you charge? Oh, nothing, sir. I just sworn to help out. I was providing more service than I got paid for. I was building relationships. They said, whoa, look here. Donna Ross and the Supremes are coming to town. The Four Tops and the Temptations. Here are my car keys. Pick them up for me. Take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. I said, yes, sir. I would drive them all over Miami Beach in the big, long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like I had some. Then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon. A disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there. Rockin' Roger got so drunk, he could not complete the show. He started slurring his words. He's about to fall off the chair. And there I was, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry.
Of all my memories with my father, my most precious one I just shared with you. And it was in the last 2 hours of his life, and it wasn't planned, and it wasn't a vacation, and it cost no money. I'm the most proud of my dad in that moment, right? And I say to you, heaven is you meet that person and you're identical twins. Hell is you end up meeting that dude someday and you're a total stranger. You didn't go down the road. You didn't make the difference. You didn't do the hard things. You didn't make the sacrifices. You didn't grow. You didn't improve yourself. That's hell, and you live with that forever. See, I said earlier, time is running out on you. We're here for a flicker, man. This life's a flicker. It was like yesterday. I gave my dad that coffee cup when he was 40 years old. It was yesterday I gave my first speech. It was yesterday I was in that Velcroed Mercedes. It was like yesterday. Now balling around on some jet, my dreams are all held together with Velcro just like yours will be. It's all tenuous. It's all fleeting. We can make them all happen. But the idea I want for you is I want you to go to heaven when you die. That makes sense? All right, hope it changed your life. Max out. All right. Thank you.
Black people took to social media, and boy, all my family had to close their accounts down because y'all was just lacing. Not y'all per se. Most of y'all don't even, hardly any blog, but I'm just talking about us. And this went because I don't know why we loved you. I don't know why we take such pleasure in when he gone. And I was talking to Kevin Hart the other day when he went through that whole thing about the girl. Kevin Hart said, man, it's amazing how they cheer for you on the way up because they love a success story. But then once you get there, their whole mission is to bring you down. And they was just on that social media just lacing me, man. Like I don't do nothing for black folk. Like I just ain't been black this whole time. The hell you gonna call me a Uncle Tom, a coon, and a sellout? I'm 60 years old. You know what I done seen? I seen what everybody in this room that's 60 done seen. I done felt what everybody in this room done felt. How they gonna call you Uncle Tom and a coon because you're at the top of the corporate ladder? Now some black person ain't got nothing wanna sit up and call you an Uncle Tom and a coon because you done bet it yourself. Ain't that about la-di-da? You be wanting to go, man, I wish, you know, man, you be wanting to say something. But you know what, though? You can't say nothing. Because my grandmama taught me something a long time ago. If you hang a sheet out on the line and you get some doo-doo on it, don't wipe it because you ain't going to do nothing but smear it. She say, just wait till it dry. It'll fall right off. So when they kept on trying to, I just shut my mouth. I stayed quiet because I knew I had a purpose. Now, Brother Blue went with me to the first meeting with Dr. Ben Carson at HUD. We have started an initiative. First one will open in Detroit because that's where Dr. Ben Carson is from. The Vision Centers have been okayed by the White House, all because I took a step and went up there and said it. I didn't even come up with the Vision Center concept till the night before. I just told God, I asked God, man, just tell me what to say when I get up there. Because what I'm supposed to say, I don't even know what to say. What do I say to Donald Trump? I told him when we were sitting there, I said, look, man, I ain't vote for you. And I say, I put my whole radio show behind trying not to get you elected. I said, but there was a mistake got made. I said, we was playing checkers and y'all was playing chess. So congratulations on your win. Oh, and then he ain't my president. Well, he the president of the United States. Well, he's not my president. He's the president of the United States. He's not my president. When you get through saying that, he the president. And if you don't sit at the table and talk, you have no say-so on what they serve on the menu. So if you don't like what you eating, it's because you ain't at the table picking and choosing. We as black people got to get at the table. This ain't the white man's game. This is the game. Money is not white man's money. It's money. You get around real rich people, they don't care what color you are. As long as you got enough to be there, trust me, you know how this works. That's racism on every level. But we black, man, we can rise above this. So when they got through eating me up, me and Blue went up there. The first one they're going to open is a Vision Center in Detroit. It's going to take a school that was closed, reopen it with HUD funding, going to support it with the right type of counselors and stuff, and create a place for young boys and girls to come and to learn life skills. See, what our kids don't know how to do is dream. If you destroy the dream, the Bible says a man without a dream or vision shall perish. It never mentions if you don't have an education. I mean, congratulations if you got one. It's sure helpful in a lot of things, but we got to get our kids to dream it. Then we got to educate their parents on financial literacy. We got to teach them life skills. Then I met with Robert Smith for 8 hours at Hit Home, the third black billionaire, and he introduced a program for coding because he says in order for black people to get to the next level, we have got to learn coding. So I went to him, so he's created an entire coding program of his own money, $100 million, this man, by himself, to put coding in all the Vision Centers so kids can learn how to code from kindergarten in the Vision Centers. Do you know if you change that technical aspect of us as black people, skip buying the video game, hell, make a video game. Stop buying the ticket to fly on the plane, make a plane. We have gifted kids if we give them the opportunity. That's what the vision centers are. Blue was there. I took another frat brother, Greg Calhoun, with me. It's amazing work. My lawyer's frat. I just keep finding them doggone cues. Man. And then too, to be real with you, just a loyalty factor come with bros sometimes. Just a loyalty factor come with Mega Sci-Fi. I ain't never seen nothing like it. I got a couple of noobs work for me, but it's something about them cues, man. It's a loyalty factor because we the only thing that's built on friendship. Everybody else on brotherhood. Friendship different. So you got to pick your friends. You pick a friend. I got a brother, man. My brother kind of crazy. He all right. I love him, but he was just already here when I got here. So we're doing some incredible stuff with it. I want to thank Brothers of Omega Psi Phi because they've understood the program that Brother Blue has explained to them, and we're going to do some things together. A couple of these housing developments I envision as Omega Psi Phi presents Vision Home for a certain city. I would love for that city to be Atlanta, Georgia, as Psi Chapter. That's where the headquarters is. I think it would make a great stance if we started our first one there. After we open the one in Detroit, we're going to branch out after that. So the meeting with Trump did materialize into something and is written. Now, government is slow, and every time they say yeah, here come another committee that's got to say yeah too. But we are very, very close. They've already started the project in Detroit, and that's what we're working towards. And I want to thank brothers that have sat down and listened to us, and Brother Blue, who's kept us on track with it, Ricky Lewis, who I understand is running for office, and I just one of the finest brothers I ever met in Omega Psi Phi. I know nobody more committed to this frat that I know personally. There's a lot of great brothers out here, and I'm pretty sure whoever else is running, this is not a slight on anybody else that's running. Please don't take me. I ain't on the campaign trail or nothing. Just I love Ricky. That's why I'm financial, and that's who I'm gonna vote for. And if he is elected, I will continue to donate very large. Ain't that some low politician right there? That's some stank politics right there. I will make sure I continue to give most generously. Let the church say amen, amen again.
basic question you are going to answer is, what do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? I want you to take about 12 to 15 minutes and make a list of at least 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. To help you get started with your list, consider these questions. What do I want to do? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? Where do I want to go? And what would I like to share? Now, with these thought starter questions in mind, answer the basic question. What do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? See how many things you can write down. At this point, don't take the time to describe in detail everything you want. This is the time for you to let your thoughts pour, to write fast and to abbreviate. For example, if you just write down 380, you'll know what that means. You don't have to describe the color and the interior of the car. You'll do that later in this exercise. I want you now just to abbreviate and write fast. Make the list as long as you possibly can. Try to write down at least 50 items, 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. Spend about 12 to 15 minutes on this. After you've completed your list, you're ready for the next part of the exercise. Go through your list, and next to the things you think you can accomplish or acquire a year from now, write a number 1. Next to the things you think it will take 3 years to realize, write a 3. Next to the things it will take 5 years to accomplish, write a 5. And next to the things it will take 10 years to accomplish, write a 10. Go through this list now to the best of your ability and say, that looks like it will take me about a year, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. Some big goals might be out there 10 years from now. Once you complete this part of the exercise, you might come to the conclusion that you need a lot more 3-year goals and less 1-year goals, for example, or that you need more 10-year goals. You see, while you're working on one goal, you must have something else in the planning stages. If you don't, what happened to some of the early Apollo astronauts could happen to you. After they came back from the moon, some of those astronauts experienced deep psychological and emotional problems. And the reason for that, why after you've been to the moon, now where do you go? That seemed to be the end, the finish. What later astronauts did was to make sure that they had major projects lined up after they returned from the moon trip. The way you enjoy life best is to wrap up one goal and start right on the next one. Don't linger too long at the table of success. The only way to enjoy another meal is to get hungry. Another thing to check for on your list is that you have included goals for each of these 3 important categories. First, make sure you've listed your economic goals, your goals for income, profit, and productivity. Second, make certain your list includes material items you want, tangibles, such as a home, a car, a boat, furniture, or jewelry. Don't attach the wrong importance to things, but they are important. Third, you'll want to include on your list goals for personal development. Write down all your personal development goals. Your goals to be more physically fit, to lose weight, to be more decisive, to be a more effective leader, to be a better communicator, to learn another language.
One of my good friends is Tom Brady, and I can tell you he's constantly talking about being in an emergency to get better. Rodney Harrison was telling me the story that when he was a rookie for the Patriots, he got to the gym every day, the workout facility first, every single day. And he walks in one day, there's this new rookie, skinny dude, probably going to get cut, backup kind of dude in Michigan, and he walks into the gym, and this guy's in there working out already. And he goes, "Who are you?" The guy goes, "Hi, I'm Tommy." And Rodney goes, "Yeah, I'm the guy who gets here early." Brady goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going to beat you every day." And Rodney Harrison goes, "Yeah, right." So by the way, the team meeting started at 10. This was 6 a.m. They do weights after the meeting. They were the only 2 guys who went to the gym before the meeting, but they were there at 6 a.m. The next day, Rodney gets there at 5:30. Walks in, guess who's already there? Skinny Brady. Harrison's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Tom, I got to get here every day before you." Next day, 5 a.m., Rodney gets there. Guess who's already there? Brady. The next day, Rodney Harrison, you can tell you the story. Rodney Harrison gets there the next day at 4:30. As he walks in the door, Brady's walking out, throws his towel. He goes, "Have a good workout." I'm getting chills right now. And Rodney goes, "Who is this guy?" And Brady goes, "Listen to me, man. I got a lot of respect for you. Nobody on this team is going to outwork me. Nobody in this team is going to outwork me. You're talking about somebody who is, in my opinion, I'm biased. Our lockers are right by each other at our club. Not only the greatest quarterback of all time, not only the greatest football player of all time, arguably the greatest athlete of all time, who has almost no athletic ability. In fact, his sister was a better athlete. 8 AFC championship games in a row. Every other year he's played football, he's been in the damn Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Really? Really, dude? Really? Unbelievable. That's because he's outworked everybody. Because he's in a crisis to get better every day. It's not like he'd like to. You think Brady might run the mini days I talked about earlier? You think he does? Yes or no? He does. We talk about it all the time. So, here's what happened to me. Last thing I'm going to tell you. I have this hallucination. It's sort of my overall philosophy about my life, and I want to have it for you. I want to say something to you. Tonight, I promise you something. I'll pray for you. I just pray that you're happier. I pray that you win. I pray that the right deals come your way. I'm prayerful for you. I'm telling you, if you have the right business partner in your life, the greatest architect in the world, great things can happen for you. You deserve to win. You deserve to have great things happen in your life. There was a point in time in your life when you were little where you knew you were going to be somebody.
He's just going around getting lined up to be something, and in the back of his mind, he's thinking, there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. Discontentment leads to direction. And out of his discontentment, here comes direction down the road. And Elijah, who just got out the cave, and he's looking for Elisha, and he comes up to him, and he exposes him to something. He comes in there with his old restaurant stuff, and he exposes him to something, and his mantle passes over him, and all of a sudden, Elijah cannot work in the secular arena anymore. Even if it means he has to take a cut in pay. Even if it means he has to burn the ox, he has to boil the ox and burn the plow, he has got to go with the man of God. Even if he doesn't become the heir apparent to what his parents wanted him to be, he is called to the man of God. Even if he doesn't have the prestige of controlling 12 yoke of oxen, he gives up all of that because he is exposed to destiny. That's what support ministry is made out of. People who are exposed to destiny. They're not people who working in the church because they couldn't work anywhere else. They should be people who could have been working in the secular, making even more money, doing something even more influential and more important. But as their love for Christ grows, they give their life to ministry. Even when the check isn't as big and the notoriety is not as much, they recognize that it was God that blessed them to go to school, to learn what they learn, or do what they do, or know what they know, that they are technically endowed because God wanted to use them in the kingdom. And they are not following the zeros, they are following the purpose and the call of God. And they're willing to boil their ox and burn their plow to be in the center of their destiny. They are called to walk with God.
I'll tell you what triggered me on this is thinking about how can I add the most value here. And engagement is one of those, new flash words in the corporate culture we all hear about. Oh, full engagement, partial engagement. But it's really true. Engagement plays such a huge role. And some of the studies that are out right now are mind-boggling. Have you seen the recent studies they've done? 142 countries asking workers around the world, how would you describe yourself? Fully engaged, partially engaged, disengaged, aggressively disengaged. And guess what they found out? Throw it up there. Around the world, in 142 countries, they found out that 13% of employees worldwide said they were actually engaged in their work. Now, for us in this room, you'd say that's absurd, there's something wrong with the survey. Well, you'd be right. In a room like this, it's full engagement, or at least a lot fuller engagement. America has the highest engagement of any country in the world, it's 29%, which sounds so much better when you're 13. So which would you rather have, a punch in the face or a kick in the stomach? But let's flip that around and say, what does that really mean? It means 71% of people are disengaged at work in the richest, most powerful, most influential country in the world. It's mind-boggling. There was only one study, you'd say, it was a partial. You can see study after study coming up with similar numbers, slightly off, but pretty much the same ratio. Now here's what's really interesting. Of those 71%, there's a group in there, about 24% of them, that are actively disengaged. You know what that means? That means they hate what they do and they hate you. Now, this is pretty important, isn't it? They hate what they do, they hate you, and they will actively work to disempower the organization. Who has ever bumped into one of these humans? Raise your hand. Say I. Okay, so when you bump into these humans, it's not usually a pleasant experience, and we all know they're out there. And by the way, how much damage can they do in a world that has, social media everywhere where good news travels fast and bad news travels faster, and people don't care what the truth is afterwards. It's a cool story, it makes it go. So this is an area that if you're going to change your business, you got to make a difference. So here's what I'm looking at. What makes the difference in people? What makes a difference in an organization? And I would submit to you that it isn't getting a head start. You can find individuals who you give everything to. You can love on them, give them a great education, they get a great economic background, and can spend the rest of their life going in and out of rehab. Who's seen this before, knows what I'm talking about? Say I. On the other hand, you see people that life's kicked in the face, somebody's been abused mentally, emotionally, physically, you name it, and they become the Oprahs of the world. So it's certainly not, advantage does not come because you were given something. And by the way, in business, advantage doesn't come because you have most resources. Companies with most resources don't win. the most resourceful companies win. The most resourceful companies are the ones where employees are the most engaged, and it's statistically proven. You look around and you say, who had the lead? Well, before YouTube, there was Vimeo. They had a year jump. Pretty much the same technology, just didn't engage as many people. Before Google, there was, what happened, Yahoo? If you're out there, what the hell happened to you people, right? Before Facebook, there was, what happened to MySpace? Facebook was more engaging. Engagement is really the new fact. Being able to be fully engaged. And by the way, in your intimate relationship, how important is engagement? Some guys go, very important. I want to put it off as long as I can. No, I don't.